Good morning, everyone. How are you? So this week we're going to work on our backs. And to get ready for that, we have to stretch our backs. I mean, anytime you start your yoga practice, always warm up your back. It's the most important part of your pre-practice exercise. But especially today, because we're going to work almost entirely on strengthening our backs. So close your eyes for a moment and just get comfortable centering yourself, making sure you're in a position that's going to be comfortable for a few minutes. Let your sitting bones sink down, let the top of your head reach up. Lift your shoulders, roll them back, just slightly, feeling a stretch across your chest, feeling your shoulder blades coming toward each other on your back, letting the tips of your shoulder blades head down your back toward your waist, lifting your chin so that it's parallel with the floor and your ears are drawn back a little bit more over your shoulders. Take a deep breath in, long breath, hold it for a moment at the top. Let it be a long exhale. Let the tension in your body dissolve. Get rid of any mental resistance that you might be feeling when you think about your back and stretching and strengthening your back. And just think about instead that you're going to explore the flexibility and the strength in your back. So let's do a short warm-up that will not be for the whole parts of your body, but just for your back. And before starting this video, maybe you can warm up the other parts of your body so that you go into it feeling nice and stretched and warm and ready. All right, so first, hands on your knees. Let's fall back onto our tailbones so we're tucking the chin in, extending the arms. Feel that stretch, that curve in your spine. And then rock forward onto your sitting bones. Lift your heart up toward the sky. So if we were on hands and knees, this would be cat-cow. So it's just another way to perform that function of arching and rounding your back. A few more times. And then come on back to center. Bring your left fingertips to the mat and your right arm up and over. So the lateral stretch of the spine. And then just right on over to the other side. All right, so you're not looking down, you're not tucking your chin in, you're looking straight forward at the wall in front of you. And your arm is lifting up, coming close to your ear, the fingertips reaching for the side wall. Maybe your right elbow can bend a little, giving you a little more stretch. Feel that stretch from your hip right up to your fingertips. And let's swoop it over to the other side again. And reach, reach, reach. And up and over again. And then lift both arms, palms facing each other, creating space in between your ribs and your hips. Now right into that space, just picture that space in here. You're lifted, you're stretching. You're going to use that space to turn your body to the left, and you're going to lower your arms. One to your knee and one with the fingertips at the base of your spine. rise up and twist. Come on back to center. Over to the other side. Press down with your fingertips. Let your forearm and your spine become like one column. Lift into that space in the middle, right in here, and twist. Right around that column. Look over your right shoulder. Come on back up. Take a big inhale and exhale. So that was the rotational function of the spine. Now another nice pose for doing the same thing is Matsyendrasana. So stretch your legs out. Bend your left knee. Bring it to the outside of your right leg. Now this is a perfect point to start from. Another option is to bend your right leg and then to sit back onto your sitting bones. But only bend that leg if you feel that both sitting bones have come right back to the mat. Otherwise, extend your leg. Same benefits. Now you're going to turn to the left. You're going to bring your left hand to the back and the fingertips right at the base of your spine again. And then you're going to take this left knee with your right arm and hug it in tight to your chest. Looking over your left shoulder, creating that twist. As you twist, you feel your belly against your thigh because you've got your thigh pulled in so nice and tight. Now sometimes you see an instructor or a yoga student with their arm like this, and that's fine too. The elbow is pushing the knee and the thigh in close to your chest. Hold, breathe, press down one more time with your left hand. Rise up. Again, that space between ribs and hips, and twist into it. Breathe. And then just release. Take a little counter bend. Stretch your legs out again. Give them a little shake maybe. Bend the right one. Bring it to the outside of the left. And maybe keep your leg extended straight or maybe bend it. It's completely up to you. Turn to the right. Bring your right hand behind you and fingertips to the base of your spine. Take your left arm. Grab hold of your knee. Wrap it around and pull it in tight. And sit tall. Press down, rise up. Use that space in the middle to twist. Look over that shoulder. And breathe. Remember, if you like the pose where your elbow is bent and pushing in your knee, that's fine too. Either one works. Breathe. And release. Take a little counter bend, stretch your legs out, and shake them a little. And then let's just swing over to one hip, swing your legs behind you, and come to table pose. And we could just do a couple of cat-cow here, just to release any tension in the lower back. And then stretch your knees back, come down onto your belly, bring your forehead to the mat. Hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Your toes are pointed. Your spine is reaching down toward your tailbone. And think of your tailbone reaching down toward your heels. So you've got length in your spine. Now, one thing to remember here. You want to keep that length in your spine. This is Cobra. Elbows are in close to the body. Press down into your pubic bone and just lift your head up off the mat. Before you come up, think about swooping your heart and your head forward and then come up to Cobra. It's a great back strengthener. And if you have some pinching or some soreness or some pain in your lower spine, in your lower back, bend your elbows more. If you're not feeling that, you're feeling good in your lower back, you can straighten your arms all the way and hold. Cobra by itself is just a great pose for your back. Bring your chin to be parallel with the floor. Look forward. And come on down. And let's just change that to up dog. So bring your hands back further. Your elbows right above the wrist crease. Hands close into your body. Your fingers are more or less in line with your nipples. Press down into the pubic bone, lift up again. Swoop forward and then come up. This time you're going to lift your belly and your thighs off the floor. And you want your shoulders, remember, to be right above your wrist crease. Good strengthener for the back. And then let's lower all the way down, bringing your right cheek to the mat and your hands underneath your shoulders for half locust. Now, you're on your right cheek, so point your right toe. And then you're just going to lift that leg all the way up off the floor. Just the hip bone remains, pressing into the mat. You can pulse a few times at the top. You can swing that leg out to the side and come back. Pulse again and lower your leg. Let's do it again on the same side. So lift and pulse. Swing your leg out to the side, to the edge of your mat. Come back in. Pulse. And lower down. Let's switch to the left cheek. Lift your leg. Pulse a few times. Pointed toe. Swing out to the side. Come back. Pulse. Lower down. Again, lift. Pulse. Swing out. And back. Pulse. Lower down. And then just wiggle your tailbone from side to side so you release any tension there. Okay, so now we're going to come to bow pose, B-O-W, like a bow and arrow. So, bend both knees, reach back, grab hold of your feet or your ankles, flex your ankles, and then there's a lot of opposition here between your hands and your ankles. Lift your forehead, lift your shoulders, and if possible, lift your knees. It's okay if your knees stay on the floor too. But if you can, lift them. Don't let your knees get wide. Keep them hip distance apart. You don't want them to swing out to the sides of your mat. And look forward. Bow pose. So you look like a bow of a bow and arrow. Breathe. Hold. And lower down. One cheek to the mat. Release your ankles. Wiggle your tailbone from side to side. Release the pressure or tension in the lower back. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your feet back and forth. So we're going to do one more boat pose on our bellies. Stretch your legs out. Bring your forehead to the mat. Bring your arms to your sides with the palms down. Now we can do this in parts. So let's think about Pressing down into the pubic bone, lifting your head and your heart, lifting your arms. Hold and breathe. And lower down. This time just your legs. So let them come together, ankles and knees right next to each other. Press down into your pubic bone and lift your legs. Feel that in your back. Lower down. Wiggle your tailbone from side to side. Let's put that all together. And of course, you're always welcome to just do one part. Take a breath. Press down into the pubic bone. Lift your head and heart. Lift your legs. Lift your arms. Boat pose. B-O-A-T. And lower down. Wiggle your tailbone from side to side. Push back into child's pose. Just to get a nice little rounding in your back, a little relief. Bring your forehead to the mat. Stretch your arms out. Push your buttocks back toward your heels. And breathe. Come on back to table. Drop your hips to one side. Swing your legs around. And lower down onto your back. Let's do bridge. So, bend your elbows. Bring them in close to your body. Walk your heels back a little closer to your buttocks. And then pressing down into the bottoms of your feet and into your upper arms from the elbows to the shoulder. Lift your hips up. Now squeeze your buttocks together. Lift your tailbone a little bit higher. Push your knees forward so you stretch out your quadriceps. And then lay your chest round back towards your chin. And breathe and hold. Lift that tailbone a little bit higher. And slowly lower down, one vertebrae at a time until your tailbone touches. Bring your knees in and roll around on your lower back. Give it a nice massage. And then rock yourself up to seated position. We will now do upward boat. So, you're sitting nice and tall. Chest is open. Lift your feet. Your hands are still behind your thighs, and then extend your legs. So your legs are nice and straight, toes are pointed, you're leaning back, and it's perfectly fine to stay right here. Breathe. If you want, bring your arms forward and hold. Up boat. You can always bring your hands to the mat too if you want. Still going to work your back. And release. Fold your legs. Round forward. Let your elbows come toward the mat. Tuck your chin in. Round your back and stretch it out. Feel that stretch in the lower back. Breathe. And come on back up. So now we're going to explore camel pose. Come onto your knees, grab your block. So camel does not have to be done with a block. This is just an option. Put the block in between your ankles on its tallest side. Come to your mountain pose, kneeling mountain pose. Lift your arms, big inhale. Exhale. The right hand comes to the block, fingertips on the block. Then the left hand comes to the block. Lift your heart, lift your sternum. Think of that whole bone here lifting right up toward the ceiling. Look up and breathe. Camel pose. Also great for the back. Now to come out of it, let that block be nice and secure between your ankles, so when you push off from it, it's going to stay there. Push off with your right hand and then your left hand. And I'll show you another way to do camel without the block. So, come on to your toes. Tuck your toes under. Same thing, lift your arms, big inhale. Exhale, one hand to your right heel, other hand to your left heel, and lift your sternum. And then, of course, push off, come up. Now drop your toenails to the mat. This is the most challenging of the camel poses, so it's up to you if you want to play with it or if you just want to stick with one of the others. Do whatever your body tells you is right for you. Lift your arms, right hand to your heel, left hand to your heel, look up and breathe. And push off with one hand and then the other. We're going to end our back series with gate pose. So again, kneeling mountain pose, lift your left leg out. Let your toes point toward the corner of your mat. Slide your left hand down the outer thigh. Let your right arm come up and over. And breathe. Getting that nice lateral stretch in the spine. Your spine is curving like a C shape. Cartwheel that to the other side. Bring your hand onto your hip. Lift your leg and pulse. And then just hold there. Bend your knee, bring it next to the other one, come back to your mountain pose, your kneeling mountain pose. Extend your right leg out. Slide your hand down it, bring the left arm up and over, and find that nice C shape. And breathe. And cartwheel, your hand to the mat, your right hand to your hip, lift your right leg and pulse. And hold. Notice your core, tighten your core. Use those abdominal muscles. And then bend that knee. And then just cross your ankles and come back to your seated easy pose. So that's our back practice. Now your back, it's a lot of work for your back, so you might want to lay down on your mat and roll around again. You might want to do child's pose. You might want to do a few cat-cow. Just make sure there's no tension in your lower back. You can just wiggle from side to side. you can make a nice circular rotation with your upper body. You can come forward and just sway back and forth from one knee to the other. And then come back. So sit for a moment. Notice the benefits of our practice. Do you notice any change since when we started our practice? I hope you are all well. I think of you all the time. I hope we'll be together again soon. And next week our practice will be a general practice, touching on all the parts of the body, stretching and strengthening them. Bring your hands together. May we bow our heads to our hearts and acknowledge the light within. And let us acknowledge that light in each other. Jai Bhagwan. Victory to the light. Have a great day.